All right, today we're going to dive into a world you can't see, but one that shapes, well, pretty much every part of your health. We're talking about the incredible, invisible universe that's living inside every single one of us, your microbiome.
So let me just kick things off with a kind of mind-bending question. What if I told you that when you count up all the cells, you're actually more microbe than you are human? It's a wild thought, right? But it's the perfect place to start to really grasp the scale of this ecosystem we're all carrying around.
And get this is the number that makes it all real. You're playing host to about 100 trillion tiny organisms. We're talking about this massive, sprawling community of bacteria, fungi, viruses, you name it. And this isn't just some random mess of germs. It's a super organized, dynamic community that's constantly working. So who are these tiny residents anyway? Let's meet the key players and get to know the absolutely vital jobs they're doing for us. The best way to think of them is like a microscopic workforce silently running some of your body's most critical operations behind the scenes.
Okay, first a really quick but important point of clarification. You're going to hear two terms thrown around, microbiome and microbiota. Here's the simple difference. The microbiota, those are the living organisms themselves, the actual bacteria and fungi. The microbiome, that refers to all of their collective genes. So think of it as the workers versus the workers' complete set of tools and instruction manuals.
Now, even though your gut community is incredibly diverse, it's really dominated by two main groups. They're called firmicutes and bacteroides. And together, believe it or not, they make up about 90% of the microbes in your gut. The balance between these two heavyweights is a huge indicator of your overall gut health.
And this workforce, wow, it has a long job description. I mean, they do the basics, sure, like breaking down food and making vitamins, but they also do some really specialized stuff. For instance, they produce a compound called butyrate, which is basically like liquid gold for your body. It's the main fuel for your colon cells, and it's a super powerful anti-inflammatory.
Okay, so that's all the good stuff. But what happens when this perfectly balanced internal ecosystem gets all thrown out of whack? Because when things go south with our microscopic buddies, the consequences for our health can be pretty significant.
Well, there's a name for this imbalance. It's called dysbiosis. And it's basically a state of chaos where the harmful bacteria can start to take over, and the good guys start to disappear. The best analogy? Think of a beautiful, healthy garden just getting totally overrun with weeds.
And this isn't just about a temporary stomach ache, no way. Research now connects dysbiosis to really serious long-term conditions, everything from obesity and inflammatory bowel disease all the way to certain cancers. And a lot of the time, it's because this imbalance is fueling chronic, low-grade inflammation all over your body.
But the influence of your gut doesn't just stop with digestion. In fact, one of the most exciting areas of research right now is revealing this deep and honestly pretty surprising connection between your gut, your brain, and your immune system.
It's called the gut-brain axis, and you can picture it like a communication superhighway, with messages constantly flying back and forth between your gut and your brain. In a very, very real sense, your gut is talking to your brain all day long.
So, what are they talking about? Your mood. It's incredible. Your gut microbes actually produce essential neurotransmitters, including a huge chunk of your body's serotonin. You know, the famous feel-good chemical? This means they directly impact your mood, your focus, and your stress levels. So, it's not a huge surprise that dysbiosis has been linked to conditions like anxiety and depression.
Now, the connection to your immune system is just as profound. I absolutely love this quote from our source material because it just nails the relationship perfectly. Your good gut bacteria act like coaches for your immune cells, training them from day one to know the difference between a real threat and something that's totally harmless.
What that all means is that a healthy, diverse microbiome is absolutely fundamental for a smart, well-behaved immune system. It helps prevent those overreactions that can lead to things like allergies and autoimmune diseases, and it keeps that dangerous, unnecessary inflammation in check.
Okay, so we've seen just how critical this microscopic world is. And you might be thinking, wow, but here's the best part. You have a tremendous amount of power to influence it for the better. So let's just walk through a simple, actionable plan to really support your gut health.
Really, the plan boils down to a few key things. First, diversify your plate. Load up on fiber-rich foods, fermented foods. You're literally feeding your best microbial allies. Next, protect them. Only use antibiotics when you absolutely have to, because they can wipe out the good guys along with the bad. And since the gut-brain axis is a two-way street, managing stress and getting good sleep is huge. Finally, just staying active boosts microbial diversity, and for some people, a little targeted support from probiotics and prebiotics can really help.
At the end of the day, it really comes down to this. Your microbiome is not a passive passenger. It is an active, powerful partner in your health. And every positive choice you make, from the food you eat to the sleep you get, helps these crucial little allies thrive.
So, we'll end with one last thought. We've seen just how much your gut has to say about, well, everything. The only question left is, are you listening to it?